So the new moon is in about an hour. New moon in Taurus. I had a very good astrologer friend one time named Panta Ray, and he really introduced me into a lot of the concepts of applied astrology. I had studied Western occultism since a young age, and many of the symbols are astrological symbols. Things such as Jupiter, so the concepts of the planetary attributes, the planetary energies, the energies of the zodiac. I was very familiar with this stuff, but as far as bringing it all together, it was really my friend Panta that began to weave it for me. He's passed now. He died almost a year ago. God bless him. He was a neat person. One of the best libraries I had ever seen for magic and occultism. Well, mostly Indian books. He had been to India twice. And it was through him that I really was originally inspired to go to India. But I read a lot of his books. I still have one of them. I mean, I asked if I could have it. He had 2 copies. It was Shankaracharya's 1000 Teachings. Now, when I was in my early 20s, I discovered Shivananda Saraswati, a yogi from India. He died in 1963, but I found one of his books for $4.25. It's called Mind, Its Mysteries and Control. It's a manual on Vedanta, and one of the best books I've ever read. 2 or 3 times a page, I would be going to the glossary to look up these words. And even though there was English translations to the words, building up those Sanskrit terms expanded my mind. It did. So having gone through this book and really being enlightened, as it were, as to the gems and jewels of the Vedic perspective, I just ravenously read Panta's library. And Shivananda recommended that people read Vashista's books and read the works of Shankaracharya. And Shankar means teacher, and Acharya, well, Acharya is teacher, and Shankar is like another name for Shiva. So he reformed India. Shankaracharya did. He's got a lot of books and a lot of things attributed to him. But it's all about the non-dual perspective. Non-dualism is the key core of Vedanta and Vedic thought. What is non-dualism? Well, non-dualism says that there's only one. All is one. Now that may be culturally a concept you have come across, because after the 60s and with the modern yoga movement and stuff like that, the idea of Om and all is one is, it resonates with a lot of people. But when that boils down into reality, it's like Jesus said, love thy neighbor as thyself. And the extension of that is because the neighbor is yourself. It'd be silly for the right hand to punish the left hand if they're part of the same body. Now, in life, it's easy enough to get confused and get wrapped up in the day-to-day realities that we live in. And in a lot of ways, perhaps we should, because we are humans on earth. And as we process things, the great oversoul is processing things. Now, is there a reason that we're doing all these things? Is there a reason we're living? I don't know. It's a mystery. I mean, I have my own pet theories and things, but at the end of the day, it's mysterious. Be good, do good. That's about it. The religion of love, the religion of kindness. That's enough work right there. Without getting too occult and too much mumbo jumbo. If you just sincerely try and be good and do good and live a religion of kindness and a religion of love, you're going to be saved in whatever capacity humans can be saved. And number 2, you'll make a lot more spiritual progress than 99.99% of the human population if you just focus on being a good person. Patience isn't always easy. I remember when I was in India, I got some intestinal troubles more than normal, and for a long time I had to be on guard a little bit with what I ate. It's all healed up now, but one thing that would happen is if I would eat popcorn and then like half a day later get angry, I'd get this pain in my side. And I don't know if I was just scratching the intestinal lining or what it was, but it would linger for sometimes days and days. I don't want to say weeks, but it was a particular pain in a particular place, and so it wasn't chronic, but it was reoccurring. And so I had eaten a lot of popcorn the night before, and I was on my way to work, and I knew that I was in danger of getting angry on the road and hurting myself because I'd eaten popcorn. So I went out. How can I say this? I prepared. I was prepared to be stimulated toward anger and not get angry. So as I was driving, I was on guard for all the circumstances that could cause me frustration and anger. And it was quite remarkable because, well, Tibetan religion is multifaceted, but one of the techniques that some of them use is something called slogans. And what is a slogan? A slogan is something you tell yourself in a particular circumstance to keep the Buddha mind going. And one of the slogans is, don't lie in wait. Don't sit ready to pounce like a tiger, ready to get angry. And okay, that makes sense. But when you're driving, you might find yourself doing this. I know I do, which is a circumstance where I see it coming. I see someone's probably going to cut me off. You can tell. And I'm just driving along, edging up a little bit, pretending not to notice, and then they cut me off, and I get angry. But I saw it happen. I saw it happen. I mean, that's happened many times. So, well, like on that trip where I had eaten the popcorn the night before, I was prepared for all these little nuanced interactions. And even though normally I notice the stuff happening, it's like my conscious mind pretends not to notice. So there's like this double consciousness, I see what's going on, but my conscious mind is pretending not to notice. And then when it happens, my conscious mind goes like, what the heck? But it saw it coming. So it was an interesting, I don't know if meditation is the word, an interesting practice on the way to work that day, because I was consciously allowing myself to see all the nuances as they were happening. And I wasn't doing it for any altruistic reason. It was personal and selfish, but I learned something that I can then use tactful tactics. I can use tactically to be a better person. And so we don't want to anticipate problems, but problems will come. So is that anticipation? I don't know. Having anticipated that I would have frustrations on the way to work that day, I was easily able to navigate them and stay above them and keep a kind heart. It was almost as though I had this psychic cushion, this emotional cushion for which to work from. So I was here, the events were out here, but rather than allowing them to get in contact with me and get angry, I was navigating myself to keep a peaceful mind. This may sound interesting, maybe even profound, but I'll tell you, it is profound. And so, one way to look at life, we need a story. In the modern day, our religions have been decimated by critical thinking and science. And according to Shivananda, everybody has a religion. A person's religion is a person living out their philosophy. So, everybody has a religion in that case. And one thing a good religion has, in my mind, is a story that encapsulates everything simply. A way to make sense of the bigger picture. It doesn't have to be accurate so much as it has to be functional. And so one of those symbolic stories that I use, it's part of a couple, but it's the idea of a lantern. Now we have that flame inside, which is the inner spirit, inner child. It doesn't have critical thinking or agendas or anything. It's pure awareness. And then we have the lantern, which is in effect our personality, which is guarding that inner flame from being tossed about by the outer circumstances. So you have to be very adaptive if you want to do that. You know, this minute you're standing like this, the next minute you're standing like this, you know, taking into account foreseeing things come, preparing, acting accordingly. So it's tricky though, because if you anticipate problems, you create problems. But there's a way of anticipating problems that helps keep a person peaceful and isn't hindering. You know, it's a funny thing living a human life. I'm glad to be a part of it.